Hey cats and kittens, EDDBUD here. The sun is out, the temperatures are warming up. It's time for an initial review of the ADIDAS Solarboost 3. Thanks for joining us today guys for this initial review of the ADIDAS Solarboost 3. It's a shoe I picked up last month, I just hadn't gotten around to reviewing it, but I'm glad I did. A shoe you could perhaps call more maximally cushioned, but actually it's not. A reasonable amount of boost here, underfoot, although quite a lot less than the Ultraboost 21. Stats wise, we have a 10mm drop from heel to toe, certainly a neutral shoe here with a couple of little nods to stability. I mean, you got those rails on the side obviously, and a weight of 370 grams in my UK size 11.5, US size 12. It clocks in just over 13 ounces, so there's quite a bit of it there. Makes for a bit of a heavier rocker, but I didn't really feel that. We'll get to that in a sec. Is it true to size, you may ask? Well, yeah, I'd actually say it's even a little roomy in the toe box. Not sure I've ever said that on an Adidas shoe before. Retail price is 140 Earth credits, although I have seen them discounted just under 100 Earth credits. That's the UK Earth credits. So if you're a bit more frugal, search around and you can pick it up a little cheaper. Okay, let's get to it. Upper first. It's almost a neoprene laptop vibe about this one. There's a hefty old section of it in the back there, and most interestingly, a split heel cup at the back. Right down the middle with just nothing there. There's quite a considerable flare there. Not sure it's designed as a pull tab or something. I'm not entirely sure it's really required back there. Your foot just slots into the shoe nicely, no real need for a pull tab. I think one of the most impressive things about this shoe is its prime green features. Apparently there's no virgin plastics in the shoe. That's got to be a good thing, right? To make the recycling more exciting, I've arranged the recycling box outside of the kitchen window, and then I try and throw the pieces out of the kitchen window. I'm 9 out of 10 at the moment. Only once did I fail, and I was a bit distracted by one of the cats at the time, so try it at home. It's good fun. When you first look at this shoe, it looks like there's quite a lot of structure to it, but actually the upper's really nice and simple, quite breathable in fact. It's quite a deceptive shoe. One of those that you could pick up and think, but actually really works well, the upper. The 3 stripes on the sides there are quite reflective as well, so if you're running around in the dark, it'll be okay. Certainly a better upper than that found on the Invincible run or the Clifton 7. I'll take this one over those two any day. One big issue I encountered here is the laces. They're just too short for a runner's knot. I was really disappointed. I managed to tie the knot, but I couldn't do a double. Bizarre how they've failed to get the right lace length in there. It's just really, really odd. Quite a lot of people like using a runner's knot, so it could be a bit of a issue. I found that the lack of the runner's knot wasn't too bad over a shorter distance, but on my second run, which was 7 miles or 11.3 kilometers, it had started to loosen up a little bit by the end, and over a longer run it could be a problem, so I might have to switch out the laces. Tightness just wasn't consistent over the miles there. Very comfortable tongue, does what it needs to do. Not sure there's much else I'd change about it. After my initial runs, I'm going to give this a 2.6 out of 3 for the upper. It's probably the roomiest of Adidas shoes I've tried out in a long time.
Midsole now.
Okay, so some people are going to get transfixed by the weight here. 370 grams it's a fair amount. It does seem to be inherent in the Boost lineup, the weight. You just can't get away from it. So that makes it a touch heavier than the Invincible run and that Pegasus 38 I tried out recently. Quite substantially more weight here than the Clifton 7. But I've got to be honest, over my initial runs, I found the weight not really to be an issue. I think gone are the days of me getting upset about that. It felt fantastic on foot. So midsole wise, not anywhere near as much boost as in the Ultraboost 21 that was released earlier this year. A more conservative spread of that famous material. Got a bit of a love-hate relationship with Boost. Some Boost shoes work really well for me, others not so much. This is one that does work well. A perfect slice of thermoplastic fun. I mean, those looking for some sort of ridiculous squash can search elsewhere. This is more about impact absorption, I suppose. Very stable underfoot, very consistent. And it's a bit of a puzzle, a bit of a mystery to me, this shoe. I thought perhaps another mile-munching daily shoe, but actually when I turned up the pace, it was really enjoyable. Faster effort today, around about 7 minutes 25 seconds per mile, which is 4 minutes 36 per kilometre. I still think that Boost can provide something to a certain cross-section of runners. It's vastly more resilient than some of those very squashy compressive foams, and that's actually what a huge number of runners actually want in their shoes. I think it's easy to forget sometimes. There's a lot of runners out there that just want consistency from their shoes. They're not interested in some super light thing that they're going to race in. They just want something they can get out in and enjoy their run. I found a very smooth midsole feel here, perhaps one of the smoothest in terms of impact protection that I've ever tried out. Kind of reminded me a little bit, I suppose, of the Glide Ride from ASICS, but without that rocker sort of feel. And those angling for a quiet shoe will be in luck. Probably one of the quietest that I've tried. I had to shout out at a couple of people as I approached them. They just hadn't heard me. And you wouldn't think that, would you? Certainly a good option for steady and stable efforts. A midsole for those seeking a little bit of control, some underfoot consistency. I wouldn't say it's a shoe that I'm going to be hitting any PRs in, but certainly one I'm going to really enjoy running some nice steady miles. Getting up into that aerobic zone, maybe into threshold effort. Felt good today, around about that effort for me, so just looking at the stats for this one, I've got 12 miles into it already, 19.3 kilometers, and a range of paces anywhere between about 8 minutes 20 seconds per mile up to 7 minutes 10 seconds per mile, which is 5 minutes 11 seconds per kilometer through to 4 minutes 27 per kilometer. So it's certainly got the range there in terms of pace for me. I think that some people won't be able to get away from the fact that it's quite a heavy shoe. It didn't really bother me all that much, the weight, but perhaps just wish there was slightly less boost there. I'll give it a 2.6 out of 3 after my initial runs for midsole. Outsole now. Can I feel that linear energy push system on the outsole of the Solarboost 3? Yes, I can. It's certainly a little more prominent than in the Ultraboost 21. Really did feel smooth, and that does add to that sensation. Lots of continental rubber here. Might even be a little bit too much continental rubber for some people. We all know how durable it is, so do we need that much? I think it's going to provide some extended durability to the life of this shoe. Certainly felt good on road and concrete. Felt good also on gravel and some less stable terrain. That traction pattern's very varied. It's got a bit of grip there. Although I did find with the small cutout areas that they do hoover up the stones. But I do think the outsole does a really good job in emphasising that smooth kind of rolling feel. I don't think I've got any real lingering doubts about the perceived durability here in the Solarboost 3 outsole. Some of the faster paced shoes that I've tried out recently that have different types of rubber have just worn away really fast. They just disappear before your very eyes. It's a shame to say, but it's true. We know that the ADIDAS Continental stuff's pretty durable, so I'm going to reflect that in the score. For outsole, I think after my initial runs, I'll give this a 2.6 out of 3. Value now. I think at the retail 140 is a little steep for this one. I think you're going to get some reasonable durability out of it, although having to mess about with the laces and stuff in terms of the length, and I think the overzealous amount of rubber could put a few people off. I think if you can pick it up at a discount, then you're onto a winner. Nice smooth ride, and with a couple of mods it could make a really good long run shoe. Though I just think with that increased weight, again, it's going to put some people off. Don't think it's going to be the most versatile of shoes for a lot of people. Though if you're looking for something that can hammer out the daily miles and it's going to provide some durability in the long term, I think it could be quite reasonable. Sadly though, I'm going to have to lower the value score a little bit at the price I paid for the shoe. Yeah, I'm going to give it a 2.2 out of 3 after my initial runs for value. So if I've totted up the scores correctly, that gives us an overall score of 10 out of 12 for the ADIDAS Solarboost 3 after my initial runs. Is this a shoe you've picked up? I know there were quite a lot of viewers out there really keen to see my review. They kept telling me to go out and purchase it. Gotta be honest, I'm enjoying it so far. Still puzzles me a little bit though. But I just don't know if it's just too heavy for certain things. On an easy day, I'm not sure I'm going to want to pick this one. I was feeling quite sprightly, quite nimble today, and didn't really notice the weight, but yeah, if your legs are a bit heavy, I'm not sure you'd want to lace this one up. Let me know your thoughts and opinions, guys, as always, down in the comments. A very quick musical interlude for you. I've been dipping back into some of my favourite jungle and drum and bass tracks from the 90s. One such track was by Randall and Andy C, entitled Sound Control. superb cut-up Amon Brothers breakbeats at the start of the track. One of the first tunes to utilise time stretching and some pitch shifting of the breakbeats. Just absolute classic stuff. Some really nice spooky little loops going on. Plus you've got that 808 kick drum bass line sound, which was part and parcel really of that whole jungle drum and bass vibe back in the 90s. I can remember first hearing this track and I was just blown away by it. The way they time stretched certain bits of the samples. It was really innovative and led to a whole genre really being created from that tune. So do go and check that one out, some of Randall and Andy C's early jungle tunes from the mid-90s. You'll really enjoy them. Okay, thanks for tuning in guys, I very much appreciate it. If you haven't done so already, please hit that subscribe button and click the bell below for notifications so you're notified of new things that occur, like new videos and all that jive. It really helps the channel out too if you give this video a thumbs up like and share it with your running buddies. My name's EDDBUD and I'll be seeing you